All right, Jeff, are you back?
I'm back. I'm here.
Okay, I had to shut down the board. I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Ah, crap. Hopefully Greg was paying attention. Cuz And let's give this thing another start here on opening day on Major League Baseball on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. I'm Pep Fernandez. That's Jeff Gorham. Greg Holla back in the studio. We are talking about the Dodgers opening their season at home against the Giants in just about 1 hour. That will be first pitch. And the Halos underway against the Oakland A's up in Oakland right now in the Bay Area. And, Jeff, the big news there is Shohei Ohtani was in the starting lineup. He was getting the start, hitting eighth as the designated hitter. And right now the Halos are up.
Yeah, Halos are up 5-4, middle of the sixth inning. They were up 4-0 heading into that fifth inning, and then Oakland put up 4, and then Albert Pujols hit a home run in the top of the sixth, and that's kind of where we just finished up. Shohei Ohtani is 1 for 3. He was 1 for 1, got his first major league hit in his first at bat. Right now he's 1 for 3, and the Angels are looking okay, 5-4, middle of the sixth.
You know, I know it's obviously very early. It's the first regular season game of the year, but, all those Shohei Ohtani critics coming out and saying, maybe he's not ready for the big league level. Maybe this is too much for him, too much too fast. I love it that he goes out there in his first at-bat. And, it's just a single, but still, you know what? That's his first Major League Baseball hit. We're going to remember that one for a long, long time. His first hit in the major leagues as Shohei Ohtani gets on board. And it looks like the Halos, behind a great start from Garrett Richards, if they can hold on here, they're going to pick up a big win on the road up in Oakland.
Well, yeah, and also Calhoun, though, gets a triple and a home run. Pujols hits home run, and Cozart. So, yeah, everybody's playing really well, and hopefully they can get the victory here to opening day.
Lots of hits, lots of homers, right? That's what you're all about, Jeff.
Hits and homers, baby. Hits and homers.
So we'll keep an eye on that Angels and A's score as they move forward here. And, of course, the Dodgers and Giants first pitch in actually about 1 hour exactly from right now at Dodger Stadium. A couple other games across Major League Baseball right now is that it is opening day, and it feels like a national holiday right now. Our boy Jake Marisnick for the world champion Houston Astros, Jeff, he went deep today. The pride of Riverside Poly High School getting the start in center field for the Houston Astros and hitting a solo bomb. That game is still underway with Houston right now and the Texas Rangers, but Jake Marisnick off to a great start. That outfield for the Houston Astros was pretty crowded the last couple of years, and Jake had to fight his way into the lineup and get at bats, and it's pretty cool to see him getting this start here on opening day and obviously making the most of it because he's already clubbed a solo home run here for the Houston Astros.
Well, hey, what a nice start though for the season. The Houston Astros, the very first pitch of the year, Springer homer to right field to start the season. That was the very first pitch in Major League Baseball today.
Crazy. So the Astros are leading the Texas Rangers right now by a score of 4-zip. That's in the top of the eighth inning. And again, Jake Marisnick, solo home run here for Houston. Also today, another Inland Empire guy going deep, the pride of Arlington High School, the former Arlington Lion, Lucas Duda. And Jeff, I know. Dude, where's my home run?
Dude.
I'm a Mets guy, so he started with the Mets, and it was awesome to see him come up with the Mets. He had some good years with the Mets. Then they traded him to Tampa Bay, and that didn't last long, and he signed on with the Kansas City Royals. Actually, not too long ago. Remember, we were just talking about him signing with Kansas City about 2 weeks ago, and now he's batting cleanup for the Royals and already has his first bomb in Royal Blue.
paying dividends, a local guy. So the Inland Empire is looking sharp here to start the day.
Our IE guys hitting bombs right and left. Jake Marisnik, Lucas Duda, and I'm just glad that, especially a guy in a new place, you always want to make a good first impression. You want to burst onto the scene and show the new team, the new fans, even the new broadcast crew for television, like everybody, like, hey, you know what? They signed me, they put me hitting cleanup in the lineup for a reason, and let me go out there and show you why. And I love it, that good first impression that Lucas Duda is already out there going deep and making his presence felt in that Kansas City lineup, because you only get one first impression, and Lucas Duda obviously made the most of it today, as did Shohei Ohtani in his first at-bat at the major league level.
Yeah, it's nice for him to get his first hit, to take that monkey off your back. A lot of people are they started to question the signing of Ohtani. A lot of fanfare, a lot of pomp and circumstance, and didn't have a great spring training. But like we said, everybody said that he was working on certain aspects of his game to get better. And we're going to see his pitching here in a couple days. And so far, his batting, he's 1 for 3, but his first at bat as a halo, he gets a hit.
So we're keeping a close eye, again, on all these Major League Baseball opening day games, the Dodgers and the Giants. First pitch is scheduled for 4:08 Pacific time from Dodger Stadium, so that's now under 1 hour there. It's going to be Clayton Kershaw against Tyler Block. A couple of the late games here. We got Colorado and Arizona, and then also Cleveland's taking on Seattle. A couple of games postponed. The Pirates and the Tigers, the Nationals and the Reds. Those were postponed here on opening day, as all these teams have these opening first round 4-game series to open up the season. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And for the Halos, again, they're leading Oakland right now, up in Oakland. They'll be back home next Monday against the Cleveland Indians. And, Jeff, that's going to be a heck of a series. In fact, you could probably say those are two teams that'll be in the hunt for the ALCS with the Halos in the American League West and the Indians in the American League Central. So those are two really good teams, and they're going to go head-to-head beginning next Monday at the Big A.
Yeah, Cleveland last year was 103-59. Was a phenomenal team. The Angels have, this new infield. They've added pieces, and they're really trying hard to compete with the Houston Astros and the Cleveland Indians, because they want to get that spot to possibly, have a good deep run in the playoffs and a possible World Series shot, maybe against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Also today, the Brewers, they're leading the San Diego Padres by a score of 1-0 in the 8th inning. And something that has always, it seems to plague the Padres, is scoring runs. Their lineup always seems to be a little bit weak. They have a hard time, pushing runs across the plate. And it seems like it's carried into this season, at least in this opening game against the Milwaukee Brewers. It's 1-0 Milwaukee in the 8th, and the Padres only with 2 hits so far. So they need to get something going here, although, it's been a pitcher's duel, and that's great to see, your starting pitcher on opening day go out there and whirl he's only given up 1 run. It's Richard on the mound. Let's see. Garrett Richard, 7 innings, only 6 hits, the 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. So he's getting it done on the hill. It's just the Padres need to back it up with some run support here. They are down to Milwaukee 1-0, and this is in San Diego right now, and it is, top of the 8th. Yeah, Ryan Braun's at the plate right now for Milwaukee. So something about the Padres, they just seem to can't score a lot of runs, and I don't know if it's because they don't have any really big names. I know they brought in Eric Hosmer. He's obviously the biggest name they have in that lineup, but if you go up and down the Padres lineup, they don't exactly have household names across the diamond.
No, and last year everybody called them the minor league team in Southern California. The biggest question mark this year was their pitching, and so far they're looking pretty good, only giving up 1 run in Milwaukee. But they did say that their batting will improve. They're looking to score more runs. So it's kind of flip-flopped, and so far it's been a pitcher's duel in this game.
All right, so of course, like we said, we'll be keeping an eye on all these scores across Major League Baseball on opening day. The Dodgers and Giants getting underway in less than an hour from a sweet-smelling Chavez Ravine. Lots of Febreze going around Dodger Stadium today, clean up that sewage leak, but they're all good, and they're ready for some baseball. And, of course, we'll keep an eye on the Angels and A's. That one is going down right now up in Oakland. And let's see, last checked, bottom of 6, and the Halos now holding on to a 5-4 lead, so now it's getting a little dicey here It was that good start here for who was it? Was it Garrett Richards on the mound?
It was, yes.
Garrett Richards, yeah, 5 innings, but let's see, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. He's given up a couple home runs to the A's. They're trying to reel in the Halos here.
Yeah, the Halos' biggest, question mark last year, and really their downfall was their bullpen. So hopefully that bullpen can hold up and they can pull out that win up in Oakland.
All right, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that one. Also, UC Riverside back in Big West Conference play. They have their conference opener tonight, taking on UC Davis. That's a 3-game series at the Plex at the campus of UC Riverside. So best of luck to the Highlanders as they open up Big West Conference play. And Cal Baptist also in action tonight, taking on Concordia as they continue Pac West Conference play. So best of luck to the Lancers and the Highlanders at home for a home series this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for both the Lancers and the Highlanders. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we'll talk Major League Baseball predictions. Who's going to win which divisions? And, Jeff, I'm going to get your World Series pick. You're going to have to give me who do you think is going to reach the World Series and who's going to win the World Series. The whole thing. You got that?
I'm ready.
All right, you're ready. We'll also talk
Yes.
NBA with the Lakers, the latest on OBJ, Final Four, all the good stuff. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. It's in the name, Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs and Letterman's jackets. That's kensportinggoods.com. That's the website, and you know where they're at in Horsetown, USA, Norco. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass, and make sure you follow them on Twitter and Instagram and get the very latest on all the cool things they're doing at Boost Performance Training in Corona, from lacrosse to golf, certainly football, because Ray Bass was a big-time football star, so you know they do that, but all of the sports, all of the levels from youth, high school, college, they'll train everybody up, get you bigger, stronger, and faster. And the strength and speed class, that first one, is always free at Boost. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road, where you can buy, trade, and finance all in the same spot. No headaches. An easy car shopping experience at Catalano Motors off of Temescal Canyon Road in Corona. The website is catalanocars.com. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, it's opening day across Major League Baseball, so of course we've got your opening day predictions. Who's going to win each of the divisions? Who's going to be the wild card teams? Who's going to win the whole thing? Who's going to end up in the World Series and win the championship this year? We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, clean car title. As you see, facts everywhere. It's important to us to educate before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cahelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 a.m. It's opening day across Major League Baseball, and we're fired up about it. So many great games going down right now. The Halos taking on the A's. We're keeping close track of that one. We'll also monitor that Dodgers-Giants game once they get underway in less than an hour at Dodger Stadium. So, Jeff, the Halos built a nice little lead up there in Oakland, but the A's have stormed back to make it a one-run game. It's 5-4 right now. Chris Davis with a 3-run bomb for the A's, followed up by Matt Olson, who has a solo home run for Oakland. That's pulled them within one, so it's a 5-4 game. Halos are up right now in the top of the 7th. Mike Trout at the plate right now with a runner on second. Actually, Mike Trout just got out. 2 outs, still a runner on second. Here comes Justin Upton to the plate for the Halos. But, yeah, a 5-4 game right now. So this one's still very much up in the air up in Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, it's opening day jitters, but a lot of guys, a lot of long balls today we're noticing. I'm looking across the board, a lot of guys hitting home runs. I guess maybe the excitement of opening day, a little adrenaline, and guys are hitting it out of the park.
All right, so Major League Baseball opening day. We're fired up about it. It's also the perfect time to make our Major League Baseball predictions. Who we think is going to win each of the divisions, who's going to make it to the playoffs, who's going to win the pennant, and who's going to win the World Series. So, Jeff, you want to go first or want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, so let's do American League, Jeff, and let's start right here in the American League West because we got a lot of Halo fans out there and a lot of Angel fans, and I know you're one of them. Here's how I see the American League panning out, and I'll start in the AL West. I think Houston defends the title. I don't think many people would argue against me. Are the Halos talented? Are the Angels going to be really good this year? I think they are, and I'm going to put them in as a wild card team. I think they're that good. I think they still make it to the postseason. I don't know if they have what it takes to dethrone the defending World Series champions, Houston, because Houston basically has the entire team back. It's like the same guys. They're all coming back. So in the American League in the West, I've got Houston. Who do you got?
In the American League West, I'm going to have to go Houston just because, you know, they have Justin Verlander and the newcomer Garrett Cole. That's a pretty good, stable starting pitchers. Think of it last year. The Astros had Brad Peacock, who hit 10-2, 3.2 ERA, and he still might not even make that rotation. So that's a deep, deep rotation. I don't know if they're going to win the division by 21 games like they did last year, but I do think that they're going to win. I think the Angels get second. I think with the, re-signing Justin Upton after coming on late in the year and then adding Kinsler and Cozart, that's a pretty good stop gaps in the holes they had in the infield. So I would have to say the Angels will be the wild card as well, and I think Houston will win the division. I do think Seattle, though, is going to be a little better than they were last year. I think they get third, followed by Texas and Oakland.
See, Houston, here's what's scary about them. They've got 3 number 1 starters. Like, these guys would be the ace everywhere else. They got Verlander. Of course, they got Dallas Keuchel, who's the hometown Houston Astro guy. And as you mentioned, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, the former UCLA Bruin who had a couple great early years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Those are like 3 aces. So if you get into a postseason series with the Houston Astros, and they're throwing those 3 guys at you, I mean, that's tough. So, I mean, that's why I love Houston. If you've got pitching, I'm going to go with pitching more so than the guys you have in your lineup day in and day out. And I think that's where the Halos maybe are lacking. I like the Halos lineup. I like it a lot. I just think the starting pitching kind of worries me a little bit when you compare it to like a team like Houston.
Yeah, but I think the Angels have improved that, the frontline starters. Garrett Richards, Matt Shoemaker, Tyler Skaggs, and, of course, the biggest question is Ohtani. Can he pitch in the major leagues? We're going to see real quickly here, but not a bad lineup, not a bad frontline group of starters.
All right, so that's the West. In the American League Central, a team that we both really like, I've got the Indians. I'm going to assume you've got the Indians too.
I do. I think Cleveland is really, really good. I think that they're gonna win this division by a landslide. I think they're going to go over 100 games again for the year. And I'll tell you what, they didn't lose very many key pieces. Their potent outfielders, Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez, are pretty darn good. Like I said, I think another 100-win season is well within reach. I think the Twins, though, will finish second, followed by the White Sox. The Tigers are going to slip again. I think they're going to kind of hover around 60 wins, and then the Kansas City Royals.
I think the Royals are going to be that bad, huh? Even
I
Lucas
think the Royals are going to be
hitting bombs out there.
Yeah, I just think that the rebuilding effort is still very young. They're thin, and I think the next couple of years is going to be pretty lean, to say the least.
Which is crazy because this is a Kansas City team. What was it? Was it 2015 when they won the whole thing? Like they're only a couple of years removed from a World Series title.
I mean, but look at their guys. They have guys all over Major League Baseball that were part of that team, and they're really just starting over.
All right, so that's how we see the Central. In the American League East, when you've got two giants, I mean, these guys are like real live ogres. I mean, they're huge. Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge in your lineup. The pitching's coming around for the Yankees as well. I know a lot of people love that the starter Severino. I like the Yankees in the American League East. I know Boston's loaded too, but I'm going to go with the Yankees.
Well, yeah, Stanton hits his first at-bat, hits a home run. That's one tough lineup, though. You got Severino, Masahiro Tanaka, Sonny Gray, Giancarlo Stanton. That's a really, really, really good ball club. They have a shot. I mean, they have a chance to be that World Series contender. They are the only team, I think, in the East that if they're playing well, they could take Houston right out of the equation.
Yeah, the Yankees made a great run last year. It looked like they were still maybe missing a piece or two, and obviously when you bring in a guy like Giancarlo Stanton to the lineup, pair him with Aaron Judge, I mean, man, that's going to be a lot of power, a lot of firepower in that Yankee lineup for a long time. So I see the Yankees winning the East. But for my wild card, like I had already mentioned, I think the Angels are going to get to the postseason. I think they'll be a wild card. I'm going to throw the Red Sox in there as well. The Red Sox still have a lot of talent on the field. I just don't. When I was looking at the Central and the West and even the East for that matter, I was keeping a close eye on Toronto. But I don't think any. And I know you like the Twins, but I think I'm going to put the Red Sox in there as the other wild card.
Well, I'd have to agree. I mean, they're a potent offense. They played great last year. They didn't lose much, and I do see they didn't make a whole lot of moves in the offseason, so they're going to stand pat. I agree with you on that one.
All right, so that's the American League. Now let's jump over to the National League, and we'll start in the National League West, of course. And I think of all of the divisions, this was the biggest no-brainer for me. I've got the Dodgers winning their 6th straight National League West title. And for me, I think all of the other teams aren't bad. I just don't think they're that good. And I know Arizona's kind of on the rise, and they'll probably finish in second place in that division. I just don't see any of those other teams even coming close to the Dodgers based on what they have on paper and based on what they did last season.
Well, I agree with you on the Dodgers winning it, but I think the Rockies will get that second spot. You know, they've added Wade Davis and Brian Shaw to replace Greg Holland and Pat Neshek. They've also re-signed the left-hander Jake McGee, so they've got a very, very good starting lineup of pitchers, and they've improved their bullpen last year. I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year.
All right, so the NL West, we say, goes to the Dodgers. In the NL Central, this is a team, the lovable losers no more because they are a World Series champion, and now they're also a perennial power. One of those young cores, like the Houston Astros have a young core, the Dodgers have a young core. The Chicago Cubs have a lot of homegrown guys, and it starts with Anthony Rizzo. I like the Cubs in the NL Central once again.
I like the Cardinals.
Oh!
I'll tell you what. I'm a homer. I love the Cardinals, always have. But I'll tell you what, they added Marcell Ozuna. Remember last year he hit 37 home runs at 124 RBIs.
For the Marlins, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be. I think for some reason I've got the Cardinals. I think they're gonna do something. The Big Redbirds are looking good.
All right, so there we go. Jeff throwing us a curveball, going with maybe I'm the curveball. Maybe more people like St. Louis than Chicago, but I'm going with the Cubs in the National League East. Now here's where I'm going to mix things up on you, Jeff. Okay, so
you're going to go Washington Nationals.
No, see that's the deal though. So the Washington Nationals, everybody falls in love with the Nationals this time of the year, including Sports Illustrated. I feel like Sports Illustrated picks them to win the World Series every single year. Not only am I not picking the Nationals to win the World Series, I'm not even picking them to win the National League East. I think from out of the ashes, like a phoenix rising, It's going to be the New York Mets. I'm a Mets fan. I like what they're doing. In fact, they beat St. Louis today behind a great start from Noah Syndergaard. You know, the big guy looks like Thor. They look awesome. I'm going with the Mets in the East that are going to knock off the Washington Nationals.
Ooh, you think Syndergaard? Syndergaard, you know, he was an extra on Game of Thrones, so he looks like a Game of Thrones guy. He's a big time, looks like a big Nordic fellow. But Jacob deGrom, very, very good atop of that rotation. But I still think the Nationals are gonna win it pretty easily, and I'll tell you why. Bryce Harper, Daniel Murphy, and Gio Gonzalez are all in a free agency year. Those guys need to think about this. Free agency in baseball this past year, guys aren't making the kind of cash that they want. And I'll tell you what, Bryce Harper is going to command huge money, and he's playing for that big contract next year.
Can you imagine Bryce Harper in another uniform? Like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Chris Bryant, those might be the three best young stars in Major League Baseball right now. And if you're the Washington Nationals, I think you have to break the bank and keep that guy as the poster boy of your club for as long as you can. But man, can you imagine him somewhere else? I mean, Bryce Harper is a player of. I remember when he left high school early. And he was playing at like a junior college in Southern Nevada before he turned pro. Like, he's always been a prodigy, and he's one of the best players in baseball right now.
Well, the thing, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school, a lot like LeBron James. You know, he came out of Las Vegas and all the hype that surrounded him and his hair, of course. But yeah, he's lived up to that hype. He's had up and down, you know, last year with little injuries. The injury bug bit him. But like I said, those guys, three of their studs are playing. Murphy, Gonzalez, and Harper are all playing for that big contract. So look for those guys to be focused and dialed in. If nobody gets hurt, I still think they win the division pretty handily, actually.
All right, so I'm going to say the Mets win the East, but I will put the Nationals in as the wild card. For my wild cards, I've got the Nationals, and I've also got the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks have enough big bats in that lineup and just enough pitching. Colorado's got all these young guys coming up. We saw Trevor Story kind of burst onto the scene. They've got more young guys who are going to be great hitters coming up. They score a lot of runs, but sometimes I feel like it's a little bit deceiving because they play at Coors Field, and I feel like Colorado just simply never has enough pitching. I think Arizona has a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I think that's good enough to get them to the postseason. So my National League wild cards will be the Diamondbacks and the Nationals. Who you got as the wild cards, Jeff?
My wild cards are going to be the Cubs and the Atlanta Braves.
The Braves?
I think the Braves are going to be a biggest surprise of this year. They might not win a lot. You know, they're not going to win a division, but they're young. They're developing young talent. They're going to start to see some fruits of that labor because remember last year they were young, and those guys really worked hard. They improved at the end of the season. I see them continuing what they did at the end of the year, and I think they're going to sneak in there.
All right, so let's hurry and get to the ALCS and the NLCS, the two teams that we think will play for each of the pennants. We'll start in the American League. And Jeff, I think in the American League, it's going to come down to the Astros and the Indians, as I think Houston's on a collision course to get back to the World Series once again. But I think at least in the ALCS, it's going to be Cleveland and it's going to be Houston. Who you got?
I have the New York Yankees. I think the Yankees are just too tough, and I think the Houston Astros.
Yankees, Astros, ALCS. Now let's go to the NLCS. I'm going, this call me an old-fashioned guy, I'm going Dodgers, Mets, NLCS. Of course, I'm riding my Mets. I'm a Mets fan. But if Noah Syndergaard and Jacob deGrom, and if the Dark Knight, Matt Harvey, can get anywhere close to what he used to look like, I think the pitching's good. And they kept Yoenis Cespedes around. Everyone thought Cespedes was going to leave. They were able to keep him around. I think this could be a really good team, and this looks like a playoff team to me. I'm going to put them in the NLCS for my own selfish reasons. I'd like to see them there, but I'm looking around at the rest of the National League. The only other team that kind of scares me outside of the Dodgers is the Cubs, but I'm going to pick the Mets over the Cubs. So Mets, Dodgers, NLCS.
Well, I'm going to go the Nats and the Doyers.
Doyers.
The Nats and the Doyers, and I think I'm going to go with the Doyers.
All right, so in your World Series, you've got who do you got?
I got the Bronx Bombers versus the Doyers.
And who do you got winning it all?
I have the Dodgers winning it all finally after getting that monkey off their bat, winning their back. They've won six. They're going to win their sixth straight division title, and they're going to go on and win the World Series.
All right, in my World Series, I've got a rematch. I've got Houston. I've got the Dodgers. It's a rematch. Everything's going to play out the same except for Game 7. I've got the Dodgers winning the whole thing in Game 7. So you're welcome, Dodger fans. I think the World Series is coming back to Los Angeles as well, and I think it's their year. They're young, so if it's not this year, maybe next year. But they're going to be good for a long time, just like the Houston Astros. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, Jeff. We're going to talk about the Lakers. Brandon Ingram's back. Lonzo Ball's banged up again. What's new? We'll talk Laker basketball when we come back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
We focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. You know, I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, you know, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and you know, help them reach their athletic potential, you know, help them, you know, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then, you know, really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, you know, in terms of speed, power, you know, strength, agility.
focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Yes, we're talking all about Major League Baseball opening day, keeping an eye on all those big-time scores. The Dodgers and Giants about a half hour away, maybe even less now from Chavez Ravine to get started there. Halos and A's. Jeff, I just checked the score again. The A's are back. They've tied it up at 5. Davis with an RBI single now. So the Halos and the A's are all tied up in Oakland. We're going to keep an eye on that one. Right now it is in the bottom of the 7th, and it's 5-5 between the Angels and the A's. But right now, we talk a little NBA. The Lakers back in action last night. Big win against the Dallas Mavericks. Everyone has a big win against the Dallas Mavericks. 103-93 was that score. Dallas simply is not very good this year. But we also saw the return of Brandon Ingram, and he looked pretty good, Jeff.
He really did. You know, he put up 16 points. He's got a handful of rebounds and 4 assists. He was right at his average. Looked pretty good. He ended up playing a lot of the point guard role after our guy, your guy, Lonzo Ball, bruised his knee. So Brandon Ingram, who really played the point spot while Lonzo was out during that stretch where he hurt his MCL last time, and he looked good as the point guard. So I'll be honest with you, if you don't have Lonzo Ball next year and you move Brandon Ingram, who would be a very big, long point guard, I don't see a problem with it. I think it's a natural position for him. He handles the ball well enough. He sees the floor, very good passer. I think that would be a great move if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you're looking for that point guard if it's not Lonzo Ball.
You know, it's kind of that trend. In fact, in the TV business, Jeff, when you have a graphic at the lower part of the screen, it's called a lower third. So, that's where it says, for example, it'll say Julius Randle, and then underneath it, Lakers forward, right? So
yes.
There was a lower third I saw the other day, and it actually said point forward. I mean, it's a real thing now. It's really out there. LeBron James, I think, is a real big reason why he's changed a lot of the thinking with these folks, that point forward's a real position now, that a big man, a forward, can handle the ball and bring it up the court.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's their leading assist and on the team. But I'll tell you what, there's one other guy, though, we've been talking all year about, and that's Julius Randle. He's playing for that big big contract. That second contract of his career. He goes for his 10th game with 9 rebounds or more, and put up another 20 points last night, 2 assists and a steal. Julius Randle is playing out of his mind. There was one stretch last night where he had 9 straight points when they were down and took the lead in the fourth quarter. Julius Randle has been their MVP so far, in, I should say, the second half of the season.
Yeah, because, again, he wants that big payday, right? Whether it's the Lakers or somebody else, someone's going to pay some money for Julius Randle when it's all said and done at the end of the season. So Lonzo Ball, I mean, he says it's not a a bad injury, the contusion. But again, Lonzo Ball's not a doctor, so but he's going to go get that checked out. He's going to have an MRI on that. He's missed a lot of games this season. I think it's too early to say he's soft. I mean, there's some athletes out there, regardless of the sport, that just seem to get injured. One of my favorites, Ryan Matthews, the running back for the San Diego Chargers. He was one of those guys that kind of had that knock that he just couldn't stay healthy. Like he was, easily injured, and I don't want to say Lonzo Ball is, because it's still really early in his career, but he's already missed 22 games this season, 17 because of that sprained left MCL. But I don't know, he might be one of these guys we see on and off the disabled list throughout his career.
Well, I can tell you this, by looking at his body and looking at his physique as a player, I don't think he's done a lot of lifting. I mean, he's been so busy, just getting out of high school, playing 1 year at UCLA. His body hasn't developed, and I think when your body hasn't developed and you're a young player, you're gonna be very susceptible to injuries. I look for him to lift a lot in the off season. Just the care and prevention of getting hurt by lifting and getting stronger will prevent him from having these knee injuries, these bruises, these so-called injuries that are keeping him out of games. A lot of these guys, we saw it with Brandon Ingram last year. He put on a little bit of muscle mass. I look for him to add a lot more. So the Lakers, the upside is they're very young, but they need to get stronger because guys are getting hurt. Brandon Ingram was hurt his first game back last night. And you also have Hart. Hart's missed the last, I think, 9 games with a broken finger. So these guys are young guys. They just need to lift so that they can prevent these injuries during the season.
It's going to be a really interesting offseason to watch the Lakers and how they maneuver through the offseason, because they're close. Jeff, I'm not a Laker fan. You know that. It pains me to say this, but they're close. I mean, this is a team that's young, and they are close to being a playoff team. In fact, I think it's safe to say they've exceeded expectations this season. So they're very, very close. If they can add some free agents, I don't know, maybe they'll even get a steal, like a hidden gem in the draft. But if they can bring in a free agent or two and add them to this young core, I think this is a team that could be relatively, knocking on the door of a playoff spot come next year. Because look at the West right now. Golden State and Houston are head and shoulders above everybody else. But after that, it's a real mess. I could see the Lakers being right in that mix next year if you bring in, LeBron James with these young guys, or a Kawhi Leonard and these young guys. You name the superstar, Paul George and these young guys. I'm not sold on Lonzo Ball. I know he's very polarizing. Some people say he's awful. Hopefully the Lakers get rid of him, and other people say, "Oh no, see, he is good." And I'm like, "Well, what are you watching?" I'm not exactly sold on that either. I think it's still too early to tell. I am concerned that he's injured quite a bit. Like you said, he doesn't lift. There's not a lot of muscle mass there, and maybe that could be the culprit why he's easily injured. But the jury's still out on Lonzo Ball for me. Take his dad out of the equation. I can't stand the dad or the whole Ball family, but just calling it as I see it, I think the jury's still out, because some nights he looks pretty good, and then some nights he looks awful. Who he reminds me of, Jeff, as a Sacramento Kings fan. Remember Jason Williams, white chocolate, the point guard?
I do, yes.
When Jason Williams was on, there was not a better point guard in the NBA. But when he was off, he was way off. I mean, he was turning the ball over every single time he went down the court. He could not hit a three-pointer. Like, when he was bad, he was really bad. But when he was good, he was like first-team All-NBA good.
Yeah, and the thing is, you talked about how close the Lakers really are. And I touched on it, said that they're going to get stronger. These young guys are going to get physically stronger. Mentally, they've gotten stronger because they've improved. If they hadn't improved, you'd have to question their mental game. I think Luke Walton's done a fine job as a coach. I think he's surrounded himself with pretty good coaches. I think when you add a couple of big superstars, whether it be LeBron James, and if you're a Laker fan, you got to hope for LeBron because he does make everybody better. He can make these younger guys better. If you add a Paul George, that would be great as well. But I'll tell you what, the biggest thing is if you sign those two guys, those two superstars, guys that will come out of the woodwork to sign for a minimum, the veterans minimum salary, guys are going to come out of the woodwork because they're going to want a chance before they end their career to get a world championship, to get a ring. So you might see a couple guys that will pop out and say, hey, I want to be a Laker, just because you have LeBron James, Paul George, and that young core of guys. The Lakers could be right there. I mean, we talked Houston, we talked Golden State, but they could be right there if they sign those two guys and bring in a couple of veterans.
All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to make our way back to Major League Baseball opening day. The Halos and A's, they have engaged in a tight battle up there in the East Bay. We'll bring you the very latest here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. We're brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled, quick quality oil change, Kin Sporting Goods, Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass, and Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. I'm Pep Fernandez, Greg Holla back in the studio. Of course, Jeff Gorham hanging out somewhere deep in the Riv, I think, somewhere in the IE, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I can't tell anyone. It's very secret.
It's like like Batman never disclosed where the Batcave was, so you got to keep some secrets.
No, and people, if I say I'm in Riverside, people tend to look for me because I'm kind of a big deal. So I'm not giving it away where I am today, but I am somewhere secure in a bunker with a phone and a computer.
Well, we are doing the show again. The hub, the headquarters here is down in Orange County, where the people here in the OC have, again, just like Greg's favorite Creed song, they've opened their arms wide open to the Inland Sports Show. They've embraced us. They want more. All the investment bankers and the surfers giving me high fives and, just saying, keep up the good work. We love what you're doing there. We love Rich Jeff. In fact, Rich Jeff, he's down here. Rich Jeff is down here.
There are many Rich Jeffs down there. But I am a little sad. Can I tell you why? I haven't seen your face. I miss your face, Pep. I miss your musk. I miss you, Pep. I miss the smell of Pep walking in with his coffee and his, your $2 aftershave and your
my bad attitude.
And your bad attitude and your bad beanie and dressed like a 15-year-old boy. I miss that. I miss it so much. But next week, will we be reunited next week?
Yeah, we'll be reunited. It'll be better than ever.
Oh, yeah, I do miss it. I can't look at your face. I can't tell jokes. I can't rip on you if I can't see you. I can't rip on Greg and his music. I can't rip on the ding-dongs that show up, the Cullens and the Konos of the world. Right now, all I'm looking at is books. I can't rip on books. They're no fun. But people's what I need. I'm a people person. If I can't talk to anyone, it's a travesty. It's a Travis mockery right there, buddy.
Well, Jeff, I'm a people person too, and I almost had to give an old lady a piggyback ride today. Almost. So here's the deal. So, again, Orange County has opened up their hearts to the Inland Sports Show and their homes, and I'm very close to the beach. In fact, I can see the beach from where I'm sitting. In fact, I'm going to adjust the camera right behind me, so if you're watching us live on the channel, you can see the beach. Rich Jeff is down there on the beach somewhere, surfing or picking up shells on the beach or doing one of those things. Actually, no, Rich Jeff would not be on the beach. He would be probably in his multi-million-dollar house looking at the beach. Don't want to get your toes, feet dirty.
It, baby. I would be hanging out in my Duffy, and I would be going from place to place, and I'd be drinking martinis, and I'd be saying hello to all of my rich friends and their big yachts. Then I would, of course, take my Duffy boat. You know what a Duffy is? Do you, Pep?
No, I only know dinghies, but what's a Duffy?
Okay, here's a Duffy. Duffy's an electric boat, and they're usually wooden, and they usually connect to a larger boat, a much larger boat, not a yacht, a luxury cruise liner, which I own 2 of them. And I'll tell you what, Balboa Island, you know what they're going to rename it after I pass?
No.
Gorham Island. It's no longer going to be Balboa. It'll be Gorham, and it'll be spectacular. My family will live there forever, and we won't allow you to be on Balboa Island because you're a peasant boy with a dinghy.
Rich Jeff Island. In fact, I was out with the family. We were driving around getting a little bit of lunch, and there was one place you could tell from a mile away that it was pretty swanky and expensive. And then right down the road, there was a little Mexican place. I don't know if it was called Papitos or something like that, Lupitas. And I'm like, let's go over to the, whatever it was called, the Rutherfords. Instead of Lupitas, let's go to the Rutherfords for a nice little brunch with the guys.
Did you have brunch? Did you have?
Yeah, we did. Well, no, not really. It was an early lunch. I wouldn't call it brunch because it was Thai food. We got Thai food, Jeff.
Oh, that's just Thai food. That's lots of curries. Not me. I don't try that stuff. I only go for lobsters. I eat lobsters for breakfast. You eat Cheerios. I eat lobsters. I put them in a big bowl and I pour salt water on them and I eat them. I eat them raw because I am Rich Jeff. You are Peasant Boy Pep.
Peasant Boy Pep, is that my moniker now?
Yes, that's what you've always been to me. You're just my little peasant boy, Pep. You just talk sports. You talk about eating gluten-free. You don't know what living is, my friend. I eat oysters. I drink oysters. You drink water. I drink oysters. I'm always in a good mood. I'm so wealthy. I'm so rich. You, peasant Pep, you just tell me some scores, will you?
I will. I'm going to get to this Angels-A's score because this thing's gotten wild up there in Oakland. We got an update. But real quick, so I was going to give this old lady a piggyback ride. So here's the deal.
Yes, let's go back to
So Orange County loves the Inland Sports Show, just like Creed and Greg's favorite song. They've opened their arms wide open to us. But I still have to walk to the beach, all right? So I'm walking to the beach, and if you could picture this, the beach and the parking lot for the beach are on opposite sides of the freeway, the one freeway. I think it's the one. Pacific Coast Highway? Yeah, it's the one. So you actually have to walk under the freeway. I'm sure there's people out there that know exactly the spot I'm talking about, but you walk under the freeway through a tunnel, and then it pops you out at the parking lot. Well, there was some older ladies, and they were definitely from Baston. They're talking about going on a walk, and there were 4 older ladies, and you know me.
Were they hot, Pep?
They were way older ladies, Jeff. And
Cougars.
No, beyond cougars. And I was walking, and me being in great physical shape as I am, in flip-flops and board shorts, I'm just screaming up these hills. I mean, you got to climb these hills to get to the parking lot, and I'm just rolling up them. You know, it's my exercise for the day, and I'm just blasting through these hills in my flip-flops, and I'm going past these old ladies, and the one's really struggling. And she looks at me, and I said, "Oh man," I'm like, "This is quite the climb. You want a piggyback ride?" And she's like, "I might take you up on that." And then her 3 friends said, "We might all just jump on your back right now." And I said, "Well, you know, bring it on. I could probably hold it." And but instead, I just kicked it into high gear and took off.
Hey, hey, you know what that sounds like?
What, a Rich Jeff move?
No, it sounds like a party right there. You got a bunch of old ladies jumping on your back. I just picture 70s music and you making out with a bunch of 80-year-old women.
Oh, man. But I was actually concerned about the one because they'd walk a little bit and then they'd rest and they'd walk a little bit because I could see them way up ahead. And of course I caught up to them and then I passed them. When I got to the parking lot, I turned around and they made it. So that made me feel good that, you know, here I was. I didn't want to be a jerk, but I really couldn't carry 4 old ladies up this hill all by myself. So, but I'm glad they made it.
One by one.
I could have, but the problem is we got the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, and I felt like cutting it really close, getting back here just in time to do the show. So that's why I was hustling. I was running. You were calling my phone. I was missing calls, and you kept calling me back. You're probably thinking, why isn't he picking up his phone? And I'm like out of breath, and it was just a mess.
Yeah, you were making out with 4 old ladies. That's why you didn't call me back.
No, I wasn't.
In my fantasy, you were.
Oh, gosh. Well, they made it. So if you were worried about the old ladies, they made it. They're back.
Nice.
The Halos and the A's, I'm sure there's lots of Angels fans down here in Orange County all over the place. In fact, everyone here in Orange County, all the investment bankers probably playing hooky from work today so they can watch the Halos up in Oakland. And, Jeff, the Angels, they jumped out to a 4-zip lead, including Shohei Ohtani collecting his first Major League Baseball hit. The A's stormed back. They tied it up at 4 as Chris Davis and Matt Olson hit back-to-back home runs. That bomb from Davis was a 3-run shot that tied it up at 4. Then in the following inning, that happened in the 5th. In the 6th inning, the Angels retook the lead 5-4, only to see the A's come back and tie it up in the bottom of the 7th on a single from Davis. So right now, in the top of the 9th, it's still tied at 5-5. And but Cole Calhoun's had a nice game for the Halos, Jeff. He's hit one out as well.
Yeah, they're hitting bombs. Pujols is getting closer to that big milestone that only two guys have ever reached. Do you know who those two other guys are?
It was A-Rod, and I believe it was Hammerin' Hank.
Hammerin' Hank, and you know A-Rod, he was a cheater. He's just a filthy cheater.
Isn't he going out with J-Lo now? Isn't he with J-Lo?
He's living with her. He has spent $15 million on an apartment in Manhattan. $15 million for an apartment.
Even Rich Jeff is like, man, that's a lot of money for an apartment.
Dude, that's beyond Rich Jeff. That's multi-billionaire Jeff. But yeah, well, how ridiculous is that? You spend $15 million on an apartment. I remember in college I was paying $225 a month.
Yeah, that's. And you know what? When we say an apartment in New York City, because my brother, he lives in Brooklyn, just bought a house in Brooklyn, and for what he paid for it, he could live like a king, like the king of Liechtenstein. He could live like the king out here in California, especially the Inland Empire, from what they pay over there in New York City and the surrounding boroughs, as they call them, in Brooklyn and Queens and whatnot. But my brother lives in Brooklyn, and he paid a pretty penny for a place that's probably like a third or a quarter of the size of the house that I live here in the Inland Empire. So, yeah, you got to be rich.
Hey, is your brother named? Is it Pip and Pep?
Pip, it is. Isn't that funny?
Pip.
There's Pip Fernandez.
Hello, Pip.
And
Hello,
Pep Fernandez. Old Pip and Pep.
Pip and Pep.
Let's see. 2 outs. The Angels do have a man on first. Cozart's at the plate. It's still tied 5-5. So I don't know. We might see extra innings, Jeff, here on opening day between the Halos and the Angels. But guess what? Guess what's underway?
The Doyers.
The Doyers, man. The Dodgers and the Giants, they've just opened up at Chavez Ravine. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll update the Angels and the A's going in the 9th inning right now, top of the 9th, still tied at 5. And underway at Chavez Ravine, it smells great thanks to this huge tub of Febreze. The sewage is gone, and they're playing baseball. The Dodgers and Giants underway from Chavez Ravine. We'll bring you the very latest on that one as well. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. Jeff, I'm looking at some boats just cruising around the ocean, and I know you're somewhat of a mariner yourself, aren't you? Driving boats?
I am a submariner. No, I am a mariner. I'm a pilot. You know what? I am an actual pilot of a boat. I went and took lessons how to drive a boat. I can drive it. I've taken a boat to Catalina Island. I have taken boats all over the world, my friends.
You're like a regular. You're a captain.
I am. They call me captain. My captain.
You're like a
pirate.
No,
they do. No. I'm never a pirate. I always drive too nice a boat. But no, everywhere I go, you know, if I have friends that have a boat, my father-in-law rented a boat. I ended up driving that darn thing down in San Diego. I wasn't expecting to, but of course they make me. But yeah, I do love a good boat, and my kids are all going to be seamen, and I am a seaman, and everyone I know should be a seaman.
Well, the Giants and the Dodgers underway at Dodger Stadium, and your boy Clayton Kershaw, I wouldn't say a rocky start, but in the first inning, the first two batters of the game both collected hits. It was, Joe Panik and Austin Jackson both had hits off of Clayton Kershaw for the Giants. So there's no score. We're going to the top, or actually the bottom of the first still. The Dodgers are coming to the plate. But the first two Giants of the season, the no-no is gone. The no-hitter's over. The first two Giants got two hits. Let's jump to conclusions, Jeff. Here, two hits off Kershaw right off the bat. You freaking out yet?
No, he's got the best beard in baseball. He's got that great lefty. Nah, I'm not worried about that at all. He's just, he's probably experiencing. He's got the smell of the stadium. He's got the smell of, I don't know about that. He's got the Dodger dog smell, the smell of Bud Light wafting across the field, and as the sea breeze comes in, he's probably just taking it all in. He'll settle down. He's fine. He's the best pitcher of all time, for God's sakes.
No score in the first. The Dodgers coming to the plate here in the bottom of the first. I'm looking at their lineup right now, Jeff. Unfortunately, our guy Austin Barnes out of Riverside Poly did not get the starting nod behind home plate. Yasmani Grandal is getting the start for the Dodgers at catcher. Here's their lineup, and it's kind of strange, and I'll point out why. So Taylor's hitting leadoff, playing center field, followed by Seager, Puig. Hitting cleanup is Kike Hernandez, followed by Bellinger, Matt Kemp, Grandal, Forsythe, and then Kershaw hitting ninth. So of all those guys in the lineup, and there's a lot of big bats in that lineup, they've got Kike Hernandez hitting cleanup. You could make a case for Grandal or Kemp or Bellinger. You could put Puig hitting cleanup. It's kind of interesting how they put Kike Hernandez in the middle of that lineup. He's not a bad hitter, but of all those hitters in the lineup, I think there's probably 3 or 4 other choices that I would put in the cleanup spot ahead of Kike Hernandez.
So no Puig?
No, Puig's hitting third.
Okay. So he is. That is a little different. I mean, Kike. I really hate saying that name. It just makes me sound
in
very
the Kike
feminine.
room.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Hernandez is a good hitter, but not your big power that you want in that 4th spot in the lineup for sure.
Yeah, I just saw the lineup. I'm looking at it because I was looking for Austin Barnes to see if he was going to start at catcher, and like I said, Yasmani Grandal is starting at catcher. Kike Hernandez is a good hitter, but I would elect to put Puig or Bellinger or Kemp, or you could even make a case for Grandal to be hitting cleanup ahead of Kike Hernandez. So just an interesting lineup for the Dodgers. I'm sure Dave Roberts knows what he's doing. He knows more baseball than I'll ever even get a whiff at. But yeah, that's how the Dodgers are running out. That's their opening day lineup here against the Giants. No score in the first. In fact, they just wrapped up the bottom of the first. We're going to the second, and the Giants are coming back up to the plate. Jeff, I'm looking at the Giants lineup. I don't think I gave them enough credit. I think they need some starting pitching, but I'm looking at their lineup. Their lineup's not that bad. Jackson's the leadoff man. Joe Panik's the second baseman. Here's the meat of their lineup in the middle. You got Andrew McCutchen hitting third, the big star from the Pittsburgh Pirates, followed by Buster Posey, Evan Longoria. I forgot Longoria was playing third base for the Giants. Yeah,
Did
Eva
you say
Longoria.
Eva Longoria?
No, I didn't actually. It was Yvonne.
Oh, you said Evan. Okay, I was excited there. I thought she was playing. She's kind of cute. She might have to play shortstop, though.
I know. Evan Longoria is at third, followed by Hunter Pence, Brandon Belt, and Brandon Crawford. That's actually a pretty good lineup. Like, I forgot about the Giants. I was thinking more about, like you said, you picked the Rockies in the National League West to finish behind the Dodgers. I was looking at Arizona. That's not a bad Giants lineup. I kind of like that lineup.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. They were winning, what was it, every even year there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They had that dynasty going, and then they've had a 4-year drought. But I'll tell you what, the Giants, they're always going to rebuild. It just might take some time. They're like the Lakers, you know. They go through ebbs and flows and ups and downs. But yeah, the Giants, if they get that starting pitching, that's a pretty good lineup, like you had mentioned.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh man, the Giants, because remember they were really bad last year, and I was looking at their lineup. I'm like, wait, this is not a bad lineup. Like maybe they're gonna have a bounce back season, but right now no score. They are in the top of the second. Kershaw on the mound. Kershaw has given up 2 hits. The first 2 batters of the game, in fact. For the Giants, and that's where we stand right now. No score at Dodger Stadium. As I scroll down to the Angels score, because the Angels and the A's were locked at 5, and yes, Jeff, they have gone to extra innings, bonus coverage, as they have gone to extra overtime up there in Oakland. Top of the 10th right now, tied at 5 between the Halos and the A's. So they're going to play extra here on the opening day. Albert Pujols is at the plate right now for the Halos. So if you're a baseball fan, you get extra baseball here on opening days. The Halos and A's are going to extra innings. Maybe a chance for Shohei Ohtani to win it.
Hey, and maybe a chance for Pujols to win it. He's already hit 1 today. It'd be nice to see him hit a second long ball. Did you see Giancarlo, whatever his name is, Stanton, hit 2 long balls in his Yankees debut today?
Yeah, man, talking about making a great first impression. Giancarlo Stanton hitting a couple. I'm looking at the Angels box score right now. So Pujols went deep. Cole Calhoun, which we touched on, he went deep, and so did Zach Cozart. So Cozart, one of the new guys, along with Ian Kinsler, hitting a bomb here. Kinsler is not in the starting lineup. He's nursing, I think it was a hamstring injury. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was nursing something, so he did not get the opening day start. So they put actually Zach Cozart at second, where Ian Kinsler would normally play, and at third base, where Cozart would probably be playing, they have Valbuena. So other than that, the Angels lineup is pretty much what we suspected it would be, including Shohei Ohtani as the designated hitter. And he is 1 for 4, collecting a single in his first at-bat at the big league level for the Halos. So right now, tied at 5, going to the 10th inning right now. Jeff, I love keeping track of all these Major League Baseball scores because everybody feels like they've got a chance. Everybody is 0-0 on the season unless you already lost early this morning like the Florida Marlins did. But outside of that, everybody else, pretty much is 0-0. The Cardinals lost early today. The Twins lost in 11. The Astros beat the Rangers 4-1. So, but going into a new season, everyone's excited. You want to see the new additions to your team. Everyone feels like they got a chance.
Yeah, they do, and a lot of big runs today. You know, Chicago White Sox put up 14 runs on Kansas City, and that's in the bottom of the ninth. A lot of big scores. Chicago putting up, like you said, 8 over Miami, and your Mets with 9 runs. So big run days here.
Yeah, the Mets breaking out the bats to back up Noah Syndergaard, a.k.a. Thor. So the Mets with a big win here on opening day. But top of 2, Dodgers and Giants scoreless, and the Halos and Angels going to extra innings tied at 5 right now in the 10th inning. Hey, real quick, let's also talk a little NFL as well. OBJ, as we come back to the NFL in Los Angeles. Remember, we talked about Odell Beckham Jr., possibly going to the Rams, that the Giants want 2 first-round picks in exchange for Odell Beckham Jr. The Rams are contemplating that. We heard from Sean McVay, the head coach of the Rams, yesterday that he is entertaining that idea of maybe, pulling off that trade. And OBJ, apparently, Jeff, behind the scenes, is relaying the message to some of the Rams players that he definitely wants in. He wants to play for the Rams, and he wants to make it happen. And why not? I think he's worn out his welcome with the Giants, so you've got that. Plus, OBJ wants to go to a team like the Rams who's trending up. I mean, the Rams are only going to get better. They had the best offense in the NFL last year, and they have their franchise quarterback in Jared Goff, who's a young guy. So OBJ's probably thinking his stats are only going to get better, and he could play on a Super Bowl contender with the Rams. The Giants, I think, are still way off from getting back to a postseason spot.
Well, you think of it this way. The Rams are in the best situation of any team in the NFL. And I don't mean because right now, they're still building. We don't know how the teams are going to mesh. But think of it this way. They're building a $5 billion stadium, and it's going to be the baddest-ass stadium on the planet. We're not talking in America. It's going to be the best stadium in the world. They want to bring in the Olympics. They want to bring in – it's a dome stadium. So what do you think they're going to bring in the next few years? They're going to bring a Final Four. A Final Four will be played in Los Angeles. Think of this. The NFL offices, the NFL Combine, the NFL Draft will all be held in Los Angeles. Why would you not want to come to Los Angeles? And the Rams are missing Sammy Watkins. They need that number one. It can't be by committee because that could maybe throw off Jared Goff. Josh Reynolds, Tavon Austin are good receivers, but are they a number one? No, they are not. So they need OBJ in that contract year. He's going to be a good guy. I feel it in my bones. I feel the Rams are going to do something good here in the next couple of years.
I think the only thing that kind of bothers me is let's play catch-22. Let's say that OBJ decides, or actually it's not his decision. Let's say the Giants decide not to trade OBJ, but it's already out there that he wanted to play for the Rams, that he was already pushing for it behind the scenes, campaigning for himself to get to Los Angeles, and in the long run it doesn't happen. Then he's got to go back to the Giants. He's got to go back to those coaches and his teammates, and they're going to be like, hey, dude, why are you trying to leave? You know what I mean? Even though ultimately it's the Giants' decision whether to trade him or not, but if he is campaigning behind the scenes to get out of there, that could be kind of a weird situation if he ends up not leaving at all.
Yeah, it would be very, very strange, but I do see they have to get rid of him. You're under the biggest spotlight in America, really. New York City is the biggest spotlight. I think he's worn out his welcome with Tisch and the owner of the Giants. I just think that he's going to be gone. And I think for the NFL brand, like I said, coming to Los Angeles, the NFL offices and so forth, I think the Rams would be a good fit because they did bring in 3 other supposed bad boys. But I think under the established clubhouse locker room that McVay started last year, I don't think it would really be a big problem because I think a lot of the other guys will hold those other dudes in line.
I think so. And again, for Odell Beckham Jr., who's one of the top receivers in the NFL, I don't think anyone would argue against that. Of course you want to go to Los Angeles. They're trending up. They're young. They've got a great quarterback. And, like we've said before, if you were going to pick that one spot that they would need to add to or improve, it's that number one top-tier receiver, and he would fit right in like a puzzle piece. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. It's just the Giants would have to make a deal, and they won a lot. They won 2 first-round picks for OBJ, and if you're the Rams, I think I would do it because he's what you're looking for. If you want that top-tier receiver, you just have to be able to deal with the headaches that maybe would come with him because there's a lot of stuff going on off the field that's going to trickle down to his image, the way the team is perceived because you're bringing in a guy like that. So you got to be able to handle everything else that goes with him if you bring him in. But surely he's one of the top, I don't know, I would say 2 or 3 receivers right now in the NFL.
He definitely is in the top 2, but you look at the Rams' defense. Really, they have Sue, Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers up front, Talib, Peters, Joyner, Johnson, and Roby Coleman. That's a pretty good defense. That might be the top defense right now in the NFL if you're looking on paper. We haven't seen him play yet, but that's a really good team.
It'd be crazy if the Rams could have the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL and then the number 1 defense in the NFL as well. So on paper, you'd say, okay, well, let's go ahead and size up those Super Bowl rings because the Rams have the best offense and defense. And right now, I think on paper, you could make a case that the Rams might have the best defense going into next season. Of course, they have to perform and prove it on the field. But at least on paper, man, they're going to look really, really strong. All right.
What do you –
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was real quick before we get going here. Would you compare, if you had Beckham, Goff, and Gurley, would you compare that to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Roethlisberger, Bell, and Antonio Brown? That's a pretty good team, right? Either team.
Yeah, that's a big three. I don't know which one I would put ahead of the other. Probably Pittsburgh for now, just because Ben Roethlisberger is more of a known commodity than Jared Goff. Goff had one pretty good year, and Ben Roethlisberger is a Super Bowl champion who does it year in and year out. So I think maybe that would be the only difference for me right now. But again, Jared Goff's a lot younger than Ben Roethlisberger. So if you're asking me who I'd rather have right now going forward, yeah, I'd probably pick that Rams trio if Odell Beckham Jr. comes to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that could be the best in football. Boom! Rams, baby!
Jeff already called his shot. Partying shot across the bow. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, we'll talk a little college basketball. Do you know there's actually a bank, and they're talking smack about our dear friend Sister Jean in Loyola. Do you know about this, Jeff? Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah.
How dare they besmirch Sister Jean's name?
There's Sister Jean just minding her own business, and this bank in Michigan is coming after her. So we're going to talk about that. And, of course, all the updates of the Dodgers versus the Giants and the Halos and A's and extra innings. All your Major League Baseball opening day updates when we come back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
How you guys doing? I'm Coach Ray again. We're here at the Boost Performance Center with the one and only Pep Fernandez. So today's tip is the shuttle run. So really the shuttle run is a great drill to measure lateral speed, power, and change of direction. So we're going to go over that today, and it's a drill that can benefit really, again, any type of field sport, whether you're a basketball player, football, volleyball, soccer. If you got to change directions, you got to be quick. Shuttle runs for you. Okay, so Jacob's going to demonstrate the shuttle run here. We're going to start off with the stance. So he's going to have his feet about hip width. Now, this is really important because a lot of times you get guys who try to shift their stance. You got to split the line evenly, and you want to make sure your toes are forward. You want to make sure your feet are right underneath your hips, all right? So he's going to have his feet forward and underneath their hips. All right, now, when I say set, he's going to drop down very quickly. Whatever hand is down is the direction that you have to go. So he's going to go to his left first, so he's got to have his left hand down. Now, his right hand is going to be right here. All right, it's going to be right in front of his body. His elbow's going to be flexed. Hand's going to be right under his chin. All right. So when I say he's going to drop down really fast. All right, he's going to put his hand down, left hand down on top of the line, right hand at his underneath his chin. Ready, set. All right, relax. All right, so that's the stance there. We don't want to hold the stance any longer than about 3 seconds. All right. So we want to be in and out. All right, now let's talk about the first touch. Once he leaves, all right, his first movement, that timer is going to start. He's going to give me a nice lateral run coming out. So he's not going to turn his head and turn his body run. He's going to lateral run coming out. And then we make our first touch. He's going to do what's called a wedge cut. It's a double foot cut, and he's going to touch right outside of his feet here. So he's going to touch the line with his left hands. He's going to do a wedge cut, it's a double foot cut. He's going to have a nice angle at the shins. He's going to touch right outside of the foot. So now I'm heading back in the direction I want to go. All right, that angle is really important. So we're getting a nice wedge cut here, left hand touch. We'll wedge cut it here with the right, and then we'll sprint through for the finish. 5, 10, 5. Here we go. You ready, Jacob? So he's going to go on me. Set. Go. Take it back. Finish right in the middle. Good, right there. Now, typically, you want to finish with your head down. All right, you want to maintain that forward lean. There you have it. Shuttle run.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM with arms wide open. Creed, Jeff. I know you're a big Creed fan. Greg's the biggest of them all, though. The president and the biggest fan of the Creed fan club. Are they still together? Does Creed still sing songs and do all that, tour and do all that?
No, I think his name is, Scott Stapp, I think.
I don't know. Ask Greg. Greg would know.
Yeah. I think it's Scott Stapp, and he goes and plays acoustically. He was at one of the wineries recently. I told you a buddy of mine was a good friend of his. Was a basketball coach at Liberty, and they were both kind of wild men in their time. I'd say beyond wild, wilder than Tim Hatch even. So yeah, he's nuts, and he used to be a Christian singer. I don't know if you knew that, but Creed was a Christian band at one time.
Really? I didn't know that.
Look at me. I'm a bastion of knowledge.
Breaking down knowledge right and left. I know Greg's back in the studio. He's probably playing some Creed right now from his own personal collection, of course. As we're taking a look, we're going to talk about Sister Jean in just a second, but I'm going to get a quick Major League Baseball update here because it is opening day. There's wall-to-wall baseball action at Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers and the Giants are going head-to-head right now up in the East Bay, Oakland. The Halos and the A's tied at 5 as we now go to the 11th inning, Jeff. So bonus baseball up there as they're working overtime. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and the Giants, something was brewing for the Dodgers. The Dodgers had 2 runners on in the bottom of the second, but right now we've just switched to the top of the third, so the Dodgers unable to push a run across. It's still scoreless between the Dodgers and the Giants, 0-0 as they head to the top of the third. Of course, if anything happens with the Halos or the Dodgers, we'll let you know. Looks like extra innings in San Diego as well. The Padres were able to score one. They tied it up with Milwaukee, but it looks like the Brewers have just scored one in the top of the 12th. So it's now a 2-1 game. Milwaukee's on top. The Padres now coming up to bat here in the bottom of the 12th, trying to get at least one to tie things up. 2 runs would send everybody home if they could get that winning run. So we'll keep you updated on all the latest on Major League Baseball opening day here across our great nation. So we've got baseball opening day weekend. I'll call it opening day weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Jeff, we also had the Final Four coming up on Saturday. Loyola's taking on Michigan, and we also have Villanova taking on Kansas. The winners of those 2 contests will get together on Monday night in San Antonio for the NCAA National Championship. And Sister Jean, Jeff, what's not to love about Sister Jean? She's a viral sensation. She says all the right things. She visits Greg in his sleep and tells him to pick Loyola. Like, everything we've heard about Sister Jean is wonderful. Everybody loves her, right?
No.
Well, I thought everybody loved her. Come on.
One thing I don't like about Sister Jean, do you want to hear, is that her loose skin. I told you I have a really bad aversion to old people and loose skin. So if I went up and hugged her and went cheek to cheek with her, and it felt like it was just like really loose skin, I think I might not like Sister Jean. So I'm going to have to like her from afar because there's no way I'm getting close to her.
So you definitely would not have given a piggyback ride to the old ladies today at the beach?
No, I can't have loose skin anywhere near me. It's just weird. It's like chicken skin. It'd be like hanging out with a deflocked chicken, and you grab it and hug it, and it's like loose skin. No way, I'm not going near it.
Well, everybody besides you loves Sister Jean, and also a bank in Michigan. It's called the Bank of Ann Arbor, and apparently this bank in Michigan is very well known for the billboards they like to post around Michigan. They've done some in the past when there's been big events in Michigan, whether it was Jim Harbaugh come into town or anything with University of Michigan athletics. So, of course, Michigan's playing Loyola, so they had to poke a little fun at Sister Jean, right? Because everybody knows Sister Jean. Everybody loves her except for you and this bank.
I like her. She just has loose skin.
Here's what the billboard said. Sister Jean will soon know the difference between heaven and hell. H-A-I-L, because hail, that's the fight song for Michigan. Hail to the victors, hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes. You know that song, the Michigan fight song. It's very well known.
Yeah, that's your favorite team in the world. That's the only reason. I thought they meant he was going to hail down threes on old Sister Jean.
No. So this Ann Arbor bank is poking a little fun at Sister Jean as we head into the Final Four, and really just trying to piggyback off of the fame and the notoriety, the viral sensation known as Sister Jean, right? Because if you post a billboard up about somebody else that nobody knows, nobody's going to care. But if you post one of Sister Jean, of course, people are going to snap a picture of it. They're going to put it on Twitter. They're going to put it on Instagram. Sports talk shows like us on Fox Sports Radio, they're going to be talking about it. So everyone's talking about this because everyone's talking about Sister Jean, and now they're part of the conversation now because this bank made a real savvy move to do that.
Very savvy.
All right, so the Final Four, Loyola versus Michigan, Villanova versus Kansas. Jeff, what is your gut telling you as we go into Final Four Saturday? Who's going to win and advance to the national title game?
Okay, I think the run of Loyola is over. I've seen Michigan firsthand. I think Mo Wagner, I think Jordan Matthews, Abdul Rahman are too athletic. They're too big. They're too long. Defensively, they are holding teams in check. If you get Wagner going, he could go out and get 30 on you. Any of those guys are a weapon. I think Loyola's run ends. And then I say, in the other bracket, I say Villanova wins just because you have the best, most dynamic player in college basketball, and a lot of people will disagree with me, is I think Jalen Brunson is the most consistent player in college basketball. He's not the most dominant, but he commands his team, and he's unflappable. He's one of those guys that can dictate the tempo. He throws the ball. He uses his postman really well, and he doesn't turn the ball over in any situation. I think Villanova is going to play Michigan in the championship.
So here's the deal. I have Villanova going all the way. That's who I picked in the very beginning, so I'm going to stick with them. I have Villanova winning the whole thing, so obviously I have them beating Kansas in the Final Four. On the other side, Loyola and Michigan. I do have Michigan in the Final Four, but I did not have Michigan advancing to the national championship game. At this point, though, between Loyola and Michigan, I don't know, Jeff. I just feel like Loyola's luck is going to have to run out at some point. It's been a great story. I'm excited to see a number 11 seed make it to the Final Four. I think that's why we watch March Madness. We love the NCAA tournament for that simple fact, because we always know there's going to be one of these relatively unknown schools, even though they have won a national championship back in 1963. But Loyola, when you first told me Loyola was in the tournament, I had to look them up. I'm like, where are they from? Oh, Chicago? Okay. And I remember they played Miami in the first round. When I first looked at that matchup, I thought Loyola against the Miami Hurricanes. Who should I pick here? I almost picked Miami because it was Loyola of Chicago. I didn't know anything about them. And I was like, you know what? I kind of got a feeling about Loyola. I picked him in the first round, but that was it. Greg Holla picked him all the way in the Elite Eight. I don't know what Sister Jean said to him in his dreams, but he had Loyola in the Elite Eight. I just think, it's been a great story, and it's a lot of fun. And I think the more they keep winning, people are jumping on that bandwagon, so to speak. But I think at some point that it's going to run out, and I think Michigan is too good. Listen, Loyola's beaten some good teams to get to this point. I don't think they've seen a team quite like Michigan, and I think Michigan wins in the Final Four, so it'll be a Michigan-Villanova championship. And I'm a Michigan fan. I want Michigan to win, but I picked Villanova to win the whole thing, so I got to go with Villanova in the title game on Monday night.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hold off my answer of who I think is going to win on Monday night. For the simple fact is, I want to make sure that these two teams are in the finals. But I will say this. Villanova is susceptible if they can't shoot the ball. Remember this. Remember when they played Texas Tech? They beat Texas Tech, but they shot 4 for 24 from beyond the arc. I'll tell you what, if they shoot that poorly against Michigan, Michigan has a shot to get them.
Yeah, you know what? If Michigan plays the way that we've seen them able to, I think a couple things would have to go Loyola's way. I think Loyola would have to have one of their best games of the entire season, and I think Michigan would have to have one of their worst games of the season for Loyola to beat them and advance. That's the way I kind of see it. I think Michigan's going to move on. On the other side, though, You know, Jeff, we're talking about two #1 seeds. They're not the #1 seeds by accident. Like, these are two of the top teams in the country. In fact, they were the entire season. And the NCAA tournament usually pans out this way. I know the Cinderellas are nice, but we see them falling off in the Sweet 16 or maybe the Elite 8. Loyola's kind of one of the oddballs to make it this far to the Final Four. So when you look at the Final Four, it's usually these #1 or #2 seeds. So to have a 1 versus a 1 on that side, Villanova and Kansas, I just picked Villanova because it's like, what have you done for me lately? They won the national title 2 years ago, and I just feel like this is a program that has those expectations and a certain culture that they're expecting to be in the national championship year in and year out, as opposed to Kansas, which Kansas historically is one of the greatest college basketball programs ever. I just feel like they're real up and down. I just feel like I don't really know what I get with the Jayhawks unless Jacques Vaughn is running the point. Like, I don't know what Kansas is all about.
Well, I'll tell you what Kansas is all about, and it's all about Malik Newman. He put up 11 points in overtime versus Duke, and I'll tell you, he is one of those freshmen that is really, his stock has risen here in the tournament. He has taken that team, the Jayhawks, on his back, and if they're shooting well from the perimeter and you have other guys besides Newman, then they have a shot. They have a shot to get Villanova. But tell you what, Villanova has shot the ball so well. In their 4 losses, though, they've shot abysmal. So Villanova has to shoot well to get by Kansas, because Kansas, they're great. They've always been a great defensive team. Bill Self has his guys ready every single game. He scouts his teams well. He will be ready, and I'll tell you what, that will be the best game of the tournament, I think, going into the championship game.
Yeah, Bill Self, no doubt, one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, and that's going to be a heck of a game. People could probably even dub that one as a true national championship game, even though it's a Final Four contest between Villanova and Kansas. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM, we will bring you your Major League Baseball updates. The Dodgers and the Giants squaring off on opening day at Chavez Ravine, and the Halos on the road going to extra innings with the A's. We'll bring you live updates from all the games across Major League Baseball, including the Dodgers and the Angels, when we come back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
We're a small family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cahelco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car, whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. What a day. It's Major League Baseball opening day. All these games going down right now. Of course, we're going to bring you those Dodger updates. We're going to bring you those Halos updates. We were hoping the Angels would be done by now, but no. They're playing extra innings up there in Oakland. So we got the Dodgers-Angels updates coming in just a second here on the Inland Sports Show. But real quick, Jeff, we've been keeping track of our IE guys. We're going to talk more baseball in the next segment as well as we track down some of our Inland Empire guys at the Major League level. This guy probably having the best opening day of all opening days, Matt Davidson, hashtag Yucktown out of Yucaipa High School. 3 home runs for the White Sox today as the White Sox beat the Royals 14-7 in that game. We said this off the top of the show that Lucas Duda had a 3-run homer for the Royals.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, where's my homer? Duda with the 3-run homer out of Arlington High School for the Royals. But Matt Davidson said, hey, that's nice, Lucas Duda. I'm going to hit 3 Jimmy Jacks, 3 home runs for hashtag Yucktown and Matt Davidson. That's a monumental game for opening day.
Let's put this in perspective. The IE represented well. They had 5 home runs today because you also had Jake Marisnick hitting a home run as well. So
That's right.
all the IE guys coming alive. But Matt Davidson just became the 4th player in Major League history to hit 3 home runs in opening day.
Wait, hold on. Let me try to guess. Let me try to guess at least one of the other runs because I know one of the other ones I think was really obscure. Was it Tuffy Rhodes?
Yes, it was.
It was. I think he did it. I want to say for the Cubs. I don't know.
Yes, he did.
And then
he hit.
Because I remember he never panned out. Like he was never very good. And I think he ended up going to Japan and making a career out of it overseas in Japan. But give me a hint. Who were the 2 other guys? Because I'm not looking it up right now. You've got that stat. I don't.
Okay, here it is. Oh, let's see here. My handy-dandy stats. Dan Johnson.
Dan Johnson.
Tuffy Rhodes and George Bell in 1988.
Wait, Dan Johnson. What year was Dan Johnson?
Dan Johnson was 2012.
Dan Johnson?
October. Oh, no, I'm sorry. My fault. I was wrong. George Bell, your boy Tuffy, and Dimitri Young. Those are the 3.
Dimitri Young. That's right. Yeah,
Dimitri Young.
Yeah, remember George Bell? I remember he was a big bopper on those Toronto Blue Jays teams in the late '80s. He was a big home run hitter. Dimitri Young, he was pretty good too. He had some good years.
Yeah, he did. He was a Detroit guy. Most of those guys in Detroit just disappear like Tim Hatch.
They just you never hear from them again. They're just gone.
Yes, the only thing you can remember about Detroit is Tom Selleck when he was Magnum PI wearing the hat around.
Wait,
boy, I'm really ripping Detroit.
You know, was that the team Tom Selleck played for in Mr. Baseball? Remember that he made that movie? He went to Japan and resurrected his career, and he came back to the United States or something like that.
I think it was the Chicago White Sox.
Was it?
I believe so. I believe it was the White Sox because I remember I was a big Magnum fan, and I consider myself quite the cool guy. And if I go to Hawaii, I always wear my Detroit hat, my Aloha shirt, and I have my hairy chest sticking out there. Yeah, I believe it was Kansas City, or I'm sorry, the Chicago White Sox was the team that Mr. Baseball. I could be wrong. One of our viewers or listeners out there might let us know.
Yeah, I'm going to Google in a second. I've got too many web browsers and programs open over here, but I'm going to look it up in just a second. We've just gone final in San Diego. The Padres lose their season opener to the Milwaukee Brewers 2-1 in 12 innings. So the Padres keep on being the Padres. They lose again at Dodger Stadium. Still no score in the 4th inning. The Giants 0 and the Dodgers 0. So, Kershaw, basically just doing Clayton Kershaw things on opening day, his 8th consecutive opening day start. So Clayton Kershaw, you kind of know what you're going to get from him. But this Tyler Block guy, give him some credit for the Giants matching Kershaw early on here at Dodger Stadium. Jeff, that's never easy when you're a guy like Tyler Block, when people probably have to Google your name to find out exactly who you are and what you're all about, going up against probably one of the top 5, starting pitchers of all time, a surefire Hall of Famer like Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be a little unnerving when you look across and you watch that guy on the mound throwing and no one knows your name. It's like walking into the Cheers bar. You got to make friends quick. And I'll tell you, if you can beat Clayton Kershaw, you're going to make a lot of friends, especially up in the Bay Area, because they love the baseball up there at the old McCovey Cove.
Mm-hmm. It's still scoreless, as we mentioned, top of the 4th between the Giants and the Dodgers. The Giants, though, they do have 5 hits. Hunter Pence has a pair of those hits for San Francisco. So the Giants are actually getting to Kershaw a little bit, but they don't have any runs to show for it. Right now, the Giants are threatening. There's runners on the corners. If there's 2 outs right now in the top of the 4th, as Kershaw's trying to wiggle out of this jam against the Giants and keep them off the board. So that's the Giants and the Dodgers. Meanwhile, the Angels and the A's, they continue to battle. Nope. It's not. They're not battling anymore, Jeff. It's just gone final up in Oakland. I just refreshed, so it just happened. Breaking news. The A's defeat the Halos by a final score of 6-5 in 11 innings. So the Angels picking up, hoping to pick up their first win of the season with Shohei Ohtani in the lineup. It does not happen as the Oakland A's gut out a 6-5 victory in 11 innings. So we're seeing a lot of extra inning baseball here on opening day.
Yeah, and it's a little disappointing. The Angels came out really, really well. They went up 4-0 to start, and then just gave it away, that middle relief, and that apparently the closers couldn't hold on, and the Athletics win at home here on a big home run by Davidson.
No, it was a walk-off single here.
Walk-off. My fault. I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
As the A's win 6-5 again, that was in 11 innings. And Greg Holla holding it down in the studio. Of course, he knows There's 2 things that Greg Holla really knows well. We can always go to him because he is the source. He knows everything. There's 2 things. One is Creed, the band. He loves Creed. The other thing Greg Holla knows is movies. And he says Detroit Tigers, Mr. Baseball, I think ended up with the Detroit Tigers. So maybe I was right. I'm going to Google it right now, Jeff.
I think you were because I did the same as well, and that's what I was looking up when you were talking about the Angels there at the end. Yes, he was Detroit Tiger. So maybe an homage to Magnum PI and the love of the Detroit Tigers. Tom Selleck got his way, and obviously Greg loves Tom Selleck like I do.
Yeah, you know what? I knew Greg would have the answer because, again, if it's Creed or movies, especially Tom Selleck movies, Greg's our guy, Greg Holla. So thanks, Greg, for holding it down on the Creed and the Tom Selleck front for us. We do appreciate that. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Major League Baseball opening day. In fact, we're going to go across Major League Baseball, give you some updates on who won, who lost, who had a big day. And really, it was a big day for Inland Empire players in the major leagues today, as a bunch of guys were hitting home runs and helping their teams get off to a good start here for the 2018 Major League Baseball season. Again, the A's have just defeated the Halos 6-5 in 11 innings. So that one has just gone final up in Oakland. Meanwhile, the Giants and the Dodgers still battling at Dodger Stadium. And it looks like, yep, the Dodgers got out of the jam. So Clayton Kershaw was able to wiggle out of that jam. Let's see what my phone's acting a little funny here. Let's see. First it said they were in the bottom of the 4th. Now it's backing me back up to the top of the 4th. We'll see. I'm going to update this. We'll bring you a live update of the Giants and the Dodgers. This is the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
So how you guys doing? My name is Coach Ray Bass. We're here at the Boost Performance Center today, and here with the one and only Pep Fernandez, and we're going to go over a real basic vertical jump. All right, we're going to teach you guys the technique and its progression. This is a great drill for really any sports. Really emphasizes pure power production through the hips, and power is really important for basically any type of athlete, whether you're a football player, track, soccer, basketball. You know, we all want to be powerful, strong athletes. So we're going to go over that today. All right, so first things first, I'm going to have Jacob go ahead and stand with his feet underneath his hips. So you want to have your toes pointed forward. You want your feet to be about hip width, all right? He's going to have his shoulders flexed, all right, in front of his body. So arms up in front. Okay, now, the most important part here is what's called a counter movement. And what that is I'm going to throw my shoulders back into extension, all right? I'm going to flex my hips, all right? So the shoulders are going to be flexed, and the hips are going to, the shoulders are going to be extended, and the hips are going to be flexed, all right? And then we follow that up with shoulder flexion and hip extension. It's got to be really fast, all right? So right now, I'm just going to show you the first phase of that. So Jacob, I want you to drop your hips into flexion. I want you to throw your arms back into extension when I say go. Ready? Yep. Right there. So come up. That's the most important movement there. So after that, it's the landing. All right. So we want to get as high as we can. As I go up, I want to extend through my hips, through my knees, on my toes pointed up. And when we land, I'm going to land back into that hip flexion, arms extended, and I want to stick the landing. All right. So we're going to go over it now. So now we're going to actually jump here, Jacob. I want to see that counter movement. Go ahead and walk a little bit closer to the hurdle here. We're going to extend on the way up. As we elevate, extend through the hips and the knees. Stick the landing, throw the arms into extension. Here we go. Ready? On you.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
And we are back on the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. It's opening day across Major League Baseball. Everyone's fired up about their teams. Everyone feels like they got a shot. Even the Halo fans, even though it has just gone final. It's been breaking news. We broke it right here on the Inland Sports Show. The Halos fall to the A's by a score of 6-5 up there in Oakland in extra innings. Meanwhile, the Giants and the Dodgers, we've now moved to the top of the fifth. We've got ourselves an old-fashioned pitchers duel brewing at Chavez Ravine. No score between the Dodgers and the Giants in the fifth inning right now. So both teams trying to get that first run of the game as Clayton Kershaw battles Tyler Block of the Giants. So still no score in that one. Jeff, we had just mentioned that Matt Davidson, hashtag Yucktown from Yucaipa High School, 3 home runs for the White Sox as the White Sox beat the Royals 14-7. The White Sox tie the Major League Baseball opening day record with 6 home runs on the day. Did you say the Halos had 4? I'm looking it up right now.
I thought they did. They had 3 or 4. I'm going to double check that as I go through my stats here.
Yeah, because
a lot of home runs here today.
Yeah, 3 home runs for the Halos. So it was a pretty good offensive day from the plate as well for the Angels as they got some run production, just could not hold off the A's as the A's were able to battle back and win it in 11 innings. But Matt Davidson batting cleanup for this White Sox team, and 3 home runs, 5 RBI, big win against Kansas City, 14-7. And Lucas Duda, again, from Arlington High School with a 3-run homer for the Royals in the loss as those two teams went head-to-head. So we had Lucas Duda going deep. We had Matt Davidson going deep 3 times, hashtag Yucktown. And then, Jeff, we had another local Inland Empire guy also go deep today.
Yeah, we did. Our guy from Riverside Poly High School, his father's the athletic director at Patriot High School, Jake Marisnik.
Do you think Ray Marisnik called in to work, or do you think they're on spring break?
Oh, they are on spring break, so I'm sure he might have gone down and watched wherever they were playing.
Yeah, they were playing the Astros were playing on the road at the Rangers, so what's the ballpark in Arlington, I believe they call it. So hopefully Ray and the whole Marisnik family was down there as Jake Marisnik out of Riverside Poly got the start in center field and hit a home run today to help the Astros to a win here on opening day across Major League Baseball. A couple other news and notes across opening day. Jeff, so the Mets beat the Cardinals, and don't say, oh, no, Pep's bringing up the Mets because that's his team. No, the Mets beat the Cardinals 9-4. But Dodger fans, you guys all remember Adrian Gonzalez. You got rid of him when Cody Bellinger, remember Cody Bellinger came up to the big leagues when Adrian Gonzalez got hurt. And Bellinger was only supposed to be a Band-Aid until Adrian Gonzalez was able to return to the Dodgers lineup. Do you remember how that all went down, Jeff?
I don't.
Oh, so Bellinger was called up, Gonzalez was hurt, and Bellinger just tore it up. Like, he was so good, and you could see that he was going to be a big-time prospect anyways. He played for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. I remember seeing him out there a couple times, and he had star power written all over him. But he went up to the big leagues when Adrian Gonzalez got hurt, and Bellinger was so good they couldn't send him back down. They were stuck. They were stuck because Bellinger had blossomed into already a star. So Adrian Gonzalez was really never the same. He had some back issues. Long story short, he ends up on the New York Mets, and today he got the start for the Mets, and he had 2 hits in the game, including the go-ahead double. So it was a tie game, and Adrian Gonzalez was able to put the Mets on top, and that was the difference in the game is Adrian Gonzalez and the Mets beat St. Louis 9-4. He's not done yet.
Yeah, but he's kind of recycled. But, hey, the Dodgers recycled Matt Kemp.
Yeah, Matt Kemp, who's had a pretty nice spring, Jeff. Do you think Matt Kemp's going to stick with the Dodgers and maybe more importantly, stick in that starting lineup and be a part of the middle of the order there because he's one of the bigger bats they've got?
Well, he's got a lot of pop still left in his bat. He had a good year last year. I know when they acquired him, they were talking about immediately releasing him, but they gave him the spring, and he played very well. So it's not. I think they still owe him money anyways from the last time he was here. So why not keep him in and see if he can be a big part of that lineup? So yeah, I think they're going to keep Kemp the rest of the season.
Well, Matt Kemp in the starting lineup for the Dodgers today as they are opening the season against the Giants. Again, there's no score in that one as of right now at Chavez Ravine and between the Dodgers and the Giants here on opening day. But it's pretty cool to see Adrian Gonzalez back in the lineup for the New York Mets and still proving that he can still play. I think things went a little sour at the end, Jeff, because even when the Dodgers did some of those, they were celebrating their National League championship and getting to the World Series and whatnot. I think Adrian Gonzalez was like in Italy. He went on this big trip. He was not even around the club as they were going through the postseason. I think he saw the writing on the wall that relationship, that partnership with the Dodgers was over, and he just bailed.
Yeah, in fact, he was in Italy. I do remember hearing that. So yeah, but hey, if he can resurge himself for your New York Mets and Mr. Met himself, you might as well. I bet you're happy. Because you know what, the win they got today might be one of the only few ones they get all year. Because I'm not a big Mets fan, and I got to give you a hard time the rest of the season.
Hey, the Mets are going to be a playoff team. I picked them to win the East. I don't care if Sports Illustrated picked who did they pick? The Nationals to win it, and they picked the Nationals to go all the way to the World Series. I don't care. I know what the Mets got. Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, the Dark Knight. If he can come back a little bit and have some quality starts. Cespedes is back for the Mets. You put Adrian Gonzalez, so if he's able to at least show some flashes of what he used to be, maybe the power is not there like it used to be, but if he can still drive in some runs, and I'd say hit third in the lineup if I was the Mets. In fact, I'm not even looking at the Mets lineup, but I'm going to bet you he hit third today. I'm going to pull it up right now. But if he can hit third and hit close to 300, maybe drive in 80 to 90 runs, I think I would call that a victory for the former Dodger, Adrian Gonzalez, with the New York Mets, because the Mets do need some run production from somebody. I think the starting pitching is going to be there for the Mets, but I always thought the addition of Adrian Gonzalez certainly wasn't a bad one when the Mets brought him in. I just think the Dodgers were in a situation where they had some young guys coming up. In fact, I think they're going to run into that again, and they've got a great young outfielder named Verdugo. They're going to have to make room for him too. That's why I think like Matt Kemp, even though Jock Peterson's a young guy as well, they're going to have to make room for these young guys. They've got a great farm system still. Some guys that we've seen play for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and they're coming up, and they need to find them some spots, like a Cody Bellinger, what he did to Adrian Gonzalez. It's not that Adrian Gonzalez still couldn't play. It's just that, the Dodgers felt it was time to move on. They had a young guy who had a ton of talent ready to blossom at the big league level, and Adrian Gonzalez found a new home, and he proved that he can still play. 2 hits today, including the go-ahead double. So I think, Jeff, that's the situation for any really good major league team that has a great farm system as well. You've got these young up-and-comers, and there's not room for everybody. You've got to make some tough choices.
Yeah, and you got to think about just think of this Dodger lineup. You talk about Bellinger and Jock Peterson. Those guys weren't even on the opening day roster. They were minor leaguers at one point. And, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking going into Dodger Stadium for the first time, really, for these guys. The Dodgers are still a young team, but, man, I'll tell you, that's got to be a lot of pressure on. I was thinking about that driving in today. What a huge amount of pressure to be starting your first opening day game.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure, but a lot of those guys, that's why you play the game, right? You want to be in that situation where you're going to be there on opening day. I know it's awesome to start any game, but something special about starting on opening day for your team when you run out onto the field for the very first time, especially, this season. So Adrian Gonzalez, I'm just looking it up right now, the former Dodger. He was hitting 6th in the Mets lineup. He went 2 for 3 today. He knocked in a run. He was hitting 6th. They have Jay Bruce currently hitting 3rd in that Mets lineup. So Jay Bruce, if I was the Mets manager, I'd have him hitting cleanup or 5th, and I'd move Gonzalez up to 3rd. But again, what do I know, right? I'm just some dude in the Inland Empire talking baseball. The other thing, Jeff, that we wanted to touch on real quick, because this was the big offseason acquisition in baseball, maybe outside of Shohei Ohtani, was Giancarlo Stanton going to the New York Yankees. and the Yankees took on the Blue Jays today, and Giancarlo had himself a game, his very first regular season game in pinstripes, Jeff, and Giancarlo Stanton was awesome.
Yeah, he ended up hitting 2 home runs, and what a way to start. His first at-bat, he hits deep. So between he and Judge, man, they could hit 1 million home runs this year. It could be a fun year for the Yankees. And like I said, I picked the Yankees to go all the way to the World Series, where I think they're going to play the Dodgers. And how fun would that be to have some old nemesis, an old rivalry brought back? We haven't seen it in a long time, but I'll tell you what, those 2 guys right there can hit the ball.
So Giancarlo Stanton right now is on pace to hit 324 home runs. Pretty impressive, right,
Jeff?
That's
quite a few.
But you know what? You know what's even better? Matt Davidson, #Yucktown. He's on pace to hit 486 home runs this season. How do you like that?
It just made him a Hall of Famer.
486. He's on pace. Matt Davidson hitting cleanup for the White Sox today. 3 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton, a couple for the Yankees here. But, yeah, you put Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge back to back or just in the same lineup. Man, 2 mammoth guys who can hit some serious home runs. 2 huge guys. What are they both, like 6'7"? Like they're just like NFL tight ends who play baseball. Like they're just monsters.
Hey, they're built like me. I'm telling you, man.
Exactly like dogs. You. Exactly
hey,
like
did you. Have, I'm going to tell you this. Every opening day I have a hot dog, and today I had the best hot dog. Did you have a hot dog yet?
I have not. I had Thai food. Is that pretty American in baseball or no?
No, it's not American at all. But, hey, I had my 3rd flat tire, or my 3rd nail in my tire.
Sorry.
Month. 3rd nail, so I go over to Costco because that's where I got my tire fixed. And they have those big hot dogs.
Oh, yeah, I love those.
I had 3 hours to kill, so I had a hot dog and a lovely beverage.
So you had a hot dog every hour. Every hour you had a new hot dog.
Yeah, if I ate a hot dog, I could. I'm not going to lie. I could eat several hot dogs an hour. But it was cool. You got to go out and get a hot dog. You know, take the family out at the beach and get a dog somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we'll grill some hot dogs down at the beach. That's actually not a bad idea, Jeff.
You gotta every year you gotta have a dog, and I'll tell you what, Costco dog's not a bad way to start my day. Even though I had a flat tire, I got to have a nice big dog from Costco.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. Those flat tires. You walk out to your car, and you're like, no, it's the last thing I needed today. Not that you ever need one, but it's always the last thing you needed. So.
No, yeah, and you were talking. Remember, we talked about this earlier in the week. You look for nails and all kinds of stuff every time you drive.
Yeah, every time I get behind the wheel or my wife's driving, I'm always scanning the road for things in the road, like again screws, nails, even a big staple will kind of freak me out. Nuts, bolts, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it wasn't another two nails in my tire in the last week. I'm tired of showing up different places and sitting in it's like going to the doctor. I hate waiting for anything. Doctors don't bother me, but waiting. It's horrible. I can't sit there for 3 hours. I didn't have a book. I wasn't prepared. So I ate a hot dog and walked around, looked at shorts, and I looked at TV. That was the
ate a bunch
of my
samples,
day.
right? You go around tasting all the samples and looking at all the good
It was
deals.
too early in the morning. The only samples they had were popcorn. It was chocolate popcorn. I can't eat that. I'm on a diet, so I had a hot dog and a salad later on in the day.
Yeah. A hot dog and a salad, man.
Yeah, I don't even. And Smedberg's probably listening. She probably said, "What? You got a hot dog?" But hey, it's opening day. You got to have a hot dog.
All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, Jeff, we'll talk a little UCLA basketball because one of their star players, he's going to enter the NBA draft, but there's a caveat there. There's an asterisk with him going into the draft. We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Basketball Hall of Fame is ready to induct their newest members, and there's 3 guys, and one of these guys, Jeff, you lived with him. You lived with this guy.
I wrote papers for this guy, but yeah, big news for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
All right, so we'll talk Basketball Hall of Fame, Jeff's former roommate, and a little UCLA hoops as well. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM. And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM. Jeff, we've been keeping a close eye on all these Major League Baseball opening day games, and I got some bad news to report, Jeff. You ready for this?
You do?
Yeah, it's a little bit of bad news. We got our first run of the game at Dodger Stadium. The Giants have taken the lead on the Dodgers 1-0 on Clayton Kershaw and the Blue Crew.
No.
I wouldn't lie about something this serious. Yeah, the Dodgers are falling behind, as they call them, the hated ones. 1-0 against the Giants. Los Gigantes.
Oh, the season is over. Dodger fans, just cash it in. It's over. We'll start, let's go 2020, 2019.
I think that's going to be a new character on this show. We'll call it like Jump to Conclusions Jeff, where you just jump to like, Dodgers are done. That's it.
Next year, we always got next year, guys. Remember that. It was a good year. We came up just a little short this year. Next, we got 161 more games. I think next year we're going to turn it around. We're going to win.
Joe Panik with a solo home run for the Giants, 1-0 right now, San Francisco, as they move now to the bottom of the fifth. So one of the UCLA basketball stars has declared for the NBA draft, but Jeff, he's got like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Can you explain this?
Yeah, Jalen Hands, the freshman out of San Diego, a very highly touted. He was a McDonald's All-American. He had a decent year for UCLA. He wasn't their best player. Holiday was their best player, the younger brother of the two Holiday boys that play in the NBA. But Jalen Hands has announced that he is putting his name into the draft. But the caveat is he is not going to hire an agent, so he's going to test the waters and see if he's going to be in those top 2 rounds. If not, I'm sure he goes right back in, plays for the Bruins next year.
So that's the one way to do it. You can declare for the NBA draft. You can kind of test the waters a little bit, maybe talk to people that's, NBA scouts or people around the league and say, hey, how realistic is it? How high could I go? What teams are interested in me? And if you don't like it, then you back out, right? And you go back to UCLA. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. And today, just within the last 20 minutes, the NCAA president came out and said the NBA needs to restructure their one and done. So that's kind of breaking news as well. It looks like the NCAA has now put it back on the NBA and said, hey, we fix this right away. Because I think when you take the one and done out of the equation, you're not going to have these shoe companies. You're not going to have these FBI indictments because you're not going to have the same hands that are being involved. You're going to get the flesh peddlers of AAU, the guys that are behind, the brokers behind the scenes. They can work with these high school kids, and there's really it will take the NCAA right out of that equation.
All right. The other big basketball news today is the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame has announced some of the members of its new class. I guess these guys have heard they're already going to be inducted, although the official announcement for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame will not come until the Final Four this weekend. But Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, and Grant Hill have all been told already that they are going into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Those are 3 of the greats, man, Jeff, and those are guys right in my wheelhouse when I was really into college and NBA basketball. And not only did I really like them, but, man, you lived with one of these guys. Jason Kidd was your roommate at California.
Yeah, it is cool to see that a guy that I knew and snored in the same room with is making the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's great because he was really one of those prototypical point guards of the 90s and early 2000s. That he was not a big scorer. His name should have been Asen Kidd because he had no J. But one of those guys that really he had a great career, could pass the ball, see the floor, very strong. He was one of those first strong point guards. So it's really nice to see a guy that I knew and got to know really well make the Hall of Fame. His coaching career, not so stellar, but as a player, he's one of the best of all time.
Yeah, I remember from Cal, and then obviously when he got to the NBA, man, he was a great player. I know some people compare him a little bit to Lonzo Ball. Do you see any comparison between Jason Kidd and Lonzo Ball of the Lakers?
They just both, neither one of them could shoot, but that's really about it.
They can pass the basketball, but they can't shoot.
Yeah, and I think Jason Kidd was a much more physical point guard. I mean, it was if you would have put Jason Kidd and Lonzo Ball together, Jason Kidd would have physically gone after him. It was just he was that much stronger of a guy. He was, if you remember, he would hunch over the basketball and handle it, and you couldn't take the ball from him ever. But he could still see the floor while protecting it, and he could guard bigger guys because he was a very strong guy, a lot more deceptively strong than what you saw.
All right, congratulations to not only Jason Kidd, but Steve Nash and Grant Hill. They are going into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Jeff, one quick programming note. Tomorrow on the show, we will have UC Riverside Director of Athletics, Tamika Smith-Jones, and we're going to talk to Tamika, about the decision to make a coaching switch mid-season right before Big West Conference play began, why she elected to go with David Patrick as the new head coach. So we're going to get into a lot of things with UC Riverside men's basketball with the UCR Athletics Director, Tamika Smith-Jones. That'll be tomorrow on the show, and you don't want to miss that because she hasn't talked to a lot of people, so she's talking to us, so we're very happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, really surprising that we haven't heard really her come. I think she spoke with ESPN shortly, but the questions were very limited. It would be nice to hear from Tamika as she will open up and give us the answers that a lot of people have wanted to know here in Riverside, and we'll see if it's justified by people's reactions.
Yeah, so don't miss that. That's tomorrow on the Inland Sports Show right here on Fox Sports IE. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up here as we're looking at Major League Baseball opening day. We'll give you one more Giants and Dodgers update as they are battling here on the first day of the Major League Baseball season at Chavez Ravine. We'll be back. It's the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 AM.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the Crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. Just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. You come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the one and only Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE 1350 AM as we are getting set to wrap this thing up. One more update from Dodger Stadium. The Giants still on top by a score of 1-0. Joe Panik with a solo ride to give San Francisco the lead right now in the bottom of the sixth. Dodgers at the plate still looking for that tying run here against San Francisco. Just 3 hits in the game so far for the Dodgers. And the Giants, of course, that one run, 8 hits off Clayton Kershaw thus far, Jeff. I'm a little surprised they've roughed up and got to Clayton Kershaw a little bit.
Yeah, they roughed him up. They have 1 run off the guy, but that potent Dodger offense, they'll wake up. And they're at Dodger Stadium. You got to do it quick, though, because time's running out.
You know, it kind of reminds me, and I'll make this quick. Remember the first game of the NFL season, the Kansas City Chiefs went on the road and they beat the Patriots in New England. Do you remember that? Everyone's like, "Oh
I
no,
do.
man, the Chiefs are going to be like the best, and the Patriots, man, their run is finally over." Come on, guys, it was just one game. So even if the Giants hold on, and they beat Kershaw, don't freak out. It's just one game. That's going to be a new character on the show. Jump to conclusions, Jeff, and we'll have to do this more often here on the show. Hey, Jeff, tomorrow also on the show. Speaking of baseball, we're going to have the voice of the Inland Empire 66ers, Steve Wint. He's going to join us. We'll talk a little California League baseball with him as the IE 66ers, proud affiliate of the Halos, and of course the Quakes, proud affiliate of the Dodgers. So we got some good California League baseball, which will begin next week as well. So baseball, Major League opening day today, California League next Thursday. So we'll get you all set for California League baseball here in the Inland Empire. It's all brought to you by our good friends at Spoiled. Quick quality oil change. You'll be spoiled by great customer service and low prices. It's in the name, Spoiled. Go check them out off of Alessandro Boulevard. Ken Sporting Goods, more than 40 years in the Inland Empire, bringing you all of your sporting gear needs and Letterman's jackets. Make sure you check them out at the old brick and mortar in Norco, California, or you can go to the website, kensportinggoods.com. Check out all the cool things they have there for not only your team, but also team sales. You want matching hoodies and T-shirts and all that stuff, they can hook that up as well. Boost Performance Training, and you got to ask for Coach Ray Bass. He's got the very best team, and we're talking about the one and only Ray Bass. From lacrosse to golf to track to football, they do it all, from youth athletes to high school to college to guys trying to turn pro, trying to get scholarships. Make sure you check out boosttrainingsystems.com. We're talking about Boost Performance Training. And Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road, where you can buy, trade, and finance all in the same spot. No pressure. Make that car shopping experience so easy. You've got high expectations when purchasing a vehicle. Catalano Motors is there to meet those expectations and go above and beyond. CatalanoCars.com is the website. Jeff, tomorrow, 4 o'clock, right here on the show, we will name the All-Stars for the 4th Annual Inland Sports All-Star Classic for Hoops, right? The top seniors in the IE.
Yeah, that's a good group of guys this year, great group of girls. It's going to be a fun event. It's going to be April 7th at RCC. The women's game will be at 5, and the guys' game at 7. It'll be televised, and you and I will be there.
That's right. It'll be televised by our good friends at TV16 Team Vision. What is up, Johnny Boy? It's going to be a great game at RCC. Of course, we're teaming up with RCC for a great venue out there. It's a great gym. I was just out there for the Notre Dame basketball Southern California championship game, so it's going to be a great place. We're excited to bring the Inland Sports All-Star game there. Boys and girls this season. We will name the All-Stars tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll see you then, 3 o'clock, right here on the Inland Sports Show on Fox Sports IE, 1350 a.m.